Fire solutions, the plane of will to action. Energy, action, purpose, mission, motivation. Willpower, courage, initiative, inspiration, passion, leadership. Risk, confidence, adventure. Outward energy, enthusiasm. So who is here still watching? The purebloods, most of which are unmasked, unvaxxed, unafraid. Many ready for action. Enough is enough now, and the fire is alive in many of you, and the fire burns brighter each day. If the situation was hopeless, their propaganda would be unnecessary. The matrix is collapsing, mostly by design, and they have an absurd, rushed agenda to place a new one on top. They haven't defeated us, but instead stirred the warrior inside of those who seek wisdom. We know this is a war for our soul and consciousness. We know it's winner takes all, and we're not leaving until the whole system collapses, no matter what they relentlessly throw at us. But what's happened the past 2 years is millions of us have tested positive for sovereignty, critical thinking, bodily autonomy, speaking truth, using discernment, standing up against tyranny, protecting children, and social distancing from the system. It's us. There is nobody else. Not the priest, not the police, not the soldier, nobody else. It's us lot. We lived, we researched, we learned, and we internally upgraded. And they couldn't and can't stop this, no matter what oppression comes in, no matter what suffering they unleash. We have learned and integrated earth, water and air, and now ignited is fiery, courageous action. Fear is an internal sensation, courage is a decision. Courage is a fear that has said its prayers and decided to go forward anyway. Courage has a measure of danger and has a will to endure it. Courage is mastery over fear, not absence of it. He who loses wealth loses much, he who loses a friend or lover more, but he that loses courage loses all. We have already aligned years ago to the collapse of an old, false, synthetic, greedy society. We knew it was finite. We are on the front line for these big waves of change coming. In this time we are not only responsible for what we do, we are also responsible for that which we won't do. There is a wisdom-based and moral duty to be a force for good in these times, a will to good, and we are all being judged on our actions and the wisdom of our actions. To embody the archetype of good, the pure soul, of righteousness, the hero. Us left in this battle for the human soul are here to show we are against evil. We will not yield. To strive, to seek, to find, to embody righteousness, and not to yield. So what actions are there one can actually do? First, get energized with love for humanity. The wisdom inside you should be doing that naturally. You cannot comply your way back to freedom. The only path forward now is resistance. Don't comply to any nonsense or oppression. Be unprogrammable, ungovernable, and choose adversity over comfort every time when oppression is near. Would you look at the time? Every act of your compliance is constructing your children's prison. Defiance will activate your willpower. It will be electrified. Do not yield. Ignite the warrior spirit, no matter what comes. Everything that made you an outsider in the old world has prepared you for a leader in the new. One key before taking action is to know thyself. Know unto thyself. How? Be alone in silence, for days if you must. No stimulus, no input, no internet, no human contact. And in the innocent softness, wait. Your soul, higher self, inner guidance will come and converse with you. It will upgrade you. You don't need Vipassana, a priest, or a group of people. You can do it alone. Upgrade thyself. This has a 100% success rate, especially if you have no physical, emotional, or mental trauma flying around inside. Delve into the stillness and quietness of the deep self, a true master key. To know thyself means to be utterly aware of all your weaknesses and blind spots and conditionings, and to softly, with steely grace, work on transmuting them subtly. To know thyself, nobody can trip you up. not even yourself. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. But it's wiser to know thyself before this restriction appears to create the motivation. If you know the enemy and to know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. To know thyself is to be a truly awakened man. Will to good actions are different for different people. One person's could be civil disobedience, another to meditate in a cave, another to be remote and right. But nobody's role in these times is actions only for service to self. It's really time to get up and act, or otherwise your comfort zone might literally kill you. So what external actions are there to do? One can look at what trajectory humanity needs to go in, so putting action and energy into any one of decentralized value, fintech or DApp projects, sharing of wisdom via different modalities, teaching children, natural healing and mental health, organic food and water, healing the forests and seas of destruction through abuse, plastic and pollution, new styles, ideas and prototypes for societal and communal cohesion and harmony, new ways of trading and commerce, finding ways of travel, hacking the system, improving digital privacy, looking at new ways of what is value and what is leadership and what is a team, creating libraries and seed banks, fitness and martial arts modalities, survival skills, sailing skills, free energy prototypes, internal spiritual work, and many more. And for a small select few of you, actions of disobedience, retaliation and revolt will arise as your purpose. And a select few of that group, some actually courageously, will go ahead and act rebelliously. Our first illegal disclaimer: all in this section coming is fictitious. I don't advise anyone to break the law. This is hypothetical, conceptual sci-fi play with no real-world intent. Antisocial behaviour is a trait of intelligence in a world full of conformists. I want to make it clear though, it is always better not to lock horns with the system. The collective darkness needs to rise more so people on an individual level see it. Only then a shift can come. It's better to scrub all the government matrix energy off you. But if you're in the city with little choices, it might just be your purpose to revolt. If you're in the path of an evil wave, you might as well fight it head on, ride or die, like a hero in the halls of karma. And WaykiWayki headquarters will now speak to those people. I will never feel sorry for helping dragon slayers in a time when there are dragons. So the rest of this section I'm only speaking to those who feel revolt and locking horns with the material phenomena of the elite is their calling. The spiritual law is you're allowed your own perception and allowed to go out and live. The elite's darkness has so much arrogance and people will revolt against this. Oftentimes though, when people are fed and entertained, nobody rises up. Protests have been increasing in numbers mostly in the white countries. Soon police and protesters will engage in murder both ways. This is inevitable. Aggression will rise from the mutant juice to the purebloods, wife against husband, friend against friend, pretty much civil war. Defend yourself by any means. You should understand and know that the elite really fear us. Waking others up, resisting, not complying, banding together. They know they are the minority, and they know theirs is an illusory authority. They are scared little coward bullies. You have the divine right to respond with all your fiery might as the elite are performing aggression via murderous oppression. You remove termites from your house. You remove mosquitoes from your body. You remove bullies from your children. Many watch Game of Thrones, Vikings, and all these other TV shows with the energy of righteousness and justice, but in real life conversely acquiesce to the villains. Against popular opinion, of course there's a time for violence, if in righteousness and justice against oppression. If you want to ignore or sing songs of love to heal this, be my guest, you'll be there a long time. Some are afraid of the darkness, but others like to play with it. They like to light the match. If you fight, you might lose, but if you don't fight, you may have already lost. And don't fill yourself with hatred though, or wild violence, but calmly removing or neutralizing gatekeepers or protectors of mass murderers is self-defense. But it's only a small fruit of a big tree with a big trunk. On the streets, paint or oil balloons, all good, fair game. Another way is messing up all the QR codes you see with marker pens. Supergluing or bringing new padlocks to barricade entrances to mutant juice application centres is another good civil disobedience. The angry mob should have been there years ago. It's certainly nigh time for them now, and if you're in the city, you have a kind of duty to fill your boots. You go with wakey blessings in this fictitious sci-fi scenario. As so many tough men are scared to invoke the natural energy of Mars, so many spiritual men are scared to invoke the natural energy of Mars. You won't vote your way out of evil, you can't be kind to evil, you can't sing to evil, you can't pour a cacao drink to evil, you can't ignore evil, it will hunt you down and kill you. The pure internal archetype of Mars is within all men: courage, destroying evil, ready for action, the warrior, vanquishing ignorance, crushing evil and deceit. You're watching all this good v evil on your comfy sofas eating crisps, cheering the taking out of Mordor, the Death Star, King's Landing, the Cylons. But when good v evil comes to your doorstep, to your reality, to your family, you do nothing? So where is your fire? Where is your Mars? It's been damaged by the war on masculinity, by the fear of punishment, and the promotion of comfy, cosy, huggy, fluffy New Age spirituality. It's well within the realms of divine righteousness to invoke Mars in any way you know how, and raise any elements of this twisted, toxic agenda to the ground. You can't make peace with evil, so destroy it. Then we can rebuild it with love, with the archetypes from Venus, Jupiter and the Sun. I will share with you Mars-fueled real fire and real actions. Attack where the enemy is unprepared. Appear where you are unexpected. Revolt in the street. At best, the crowd can take over a bank or government building, but each don't really need these buildings. It doesn't stop the agenda. When we see riots and protesters fighting police, the images we see mean little, because we've seen these images hundreds of times, and the images could have 100 different causal reasons. It could be animal rights, tranny rights, BLM, left-wing, right-wing, let refugees in, give us more vaccine supplies. It could be anything, and with mainstream media blackouts on Rona protests, and protests being easily co-opted, it assures little effect. But the men with nothing to lose will soon revolt. The men who wanted to be left alone will soon revolt. Okay, how do the elite work? They use talismanic images. Only a few people were in the towers on 9/11. Empty floors and dummies were used for the TV show. And the Chinaman Rona'd up deads on the floor images. But wow, those were really talismanic powerful images. They changed so many minds. So stay with me. What are the heads of the elite's Hydra? The New York Times, The Guardian, Sky News, CNN, BBC, big tech like Google, Facebook, and of course the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the CDC, the G20, Mossad, the IMF, the central banks, Pfizer, to name just a few. These are much more talismanic targets than the city high street or a government or banking building, and all are guilty of conspiracy to mass murder, mass theft and mass mutation. Now the addresses for all these places are very simple to find, security low. Many server farms of these outfits, these addresses aren't hard to find either. Imagine images going around the world of any of these offices being destroyed with fire, like the dark witches' covens they are, in this fictitious sci-fi scenario with no real-world intent. These talismanic images would create a massive consciousness change in the collective and ignite revolt energy that would be unstoppable, destroyed by divine masculine in righteousness. They are already scared as the World Economic Forum cancelled their open forum recently due to death threats. Now this is highly probable just a psyop to make them less public. Either way, they know they're in danger. But hang on, why not go to the boss and controllers of the Hydra? BlackRock and Vanguard are the major shareholders of the world's largest matrix corporations. Big pharma, defense, oil, gas, mining, mainstream media, farming and packet food, fashion, all the centralized big tech, banks, telecoms, and everything else you can think of really, and all we just saw for sure. They have over 20 trillion invested. They are the largest shareholder in 90% of the S&P 500 companies and basically own the world. Even donation-based big foundations, forums, think tanks, and many NGOs are all controlled by BlackRock's anonymous donations and funding. Bloomberg, also in the gang somewhat, calls BlackRock the fourth branch of government because it's the only private agency that closely works with the central banks. BlackRock even lends money to the central banks and also advises them. The biggest shareholder in BlackRock is Vanguard. So who are the shareholders of Vanguard? Now this information is private, and for sure this is the big 20-30 families. Hit BlackRock and Vanguard and you really hit them in the nuts. And Larry Fink on the left is the CEO of BlackRock, Mortimer Buckley on the right is CEO of Vanguard. Fill your boots. Same race and ideology. Isn't it fun doing this fictitious sci-fi scenario stuff with no real world intent? Another way to work with Mars energy to seriously change the world is this, and this is for serious revolters fueled with divine fire only. Against popular opinion, real intelligent revolt doesn't need the masses. It doesn't need big numbers. Remember my short story in the Nureon book where one person changed the world? It's not that hard. One quiet lone tiger is much more dangerous than a pack of barking dogs. One person, or just a small group, could create a private smart contract system based on private crypto that pins up a hit list, a wanted reward system for crimes against humanity. And this hit list would be maintained and governed by a DAO, a DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which is anonymous, purely decentralized, anonymous, untrackable. For example, let's fictitiously play with a hit list. Klaus Schwab, upside down in a garage, begging for redemption, $1 million of crypto will automatically be passed from the DAO. Boris Johnson, relieved of the demon controlling him with ayahuasca, $3 million of crypto automatically be passed from the DAO. Central bank or IMF website hacked and messages of truth displayed about their theft, 300 grand of crypto. Destroying mutant juice buses and tents, 100k of crypto. Turn YouTube or Guardian offices into a fireworks show, $4 million of crypto, and so on and so on. Each week new hit list proposals could be voted on by the DAO and 5 new ones allowed. If an event on the hit list is not done within 1 month, the reward goes up. A warrior hero scoreboard is there too, for which anonymous handle has the most rewards. This would ignite anonymous lone wolf righteous warrior bounty hunters. The rewards would be donated by crypto whales and anyone who wants to support the cause, from private anonymous wallets with privacy assets. The rewards would be passed to those who did the events on the list once evidence is voted on and authorized by the DAO. How about Fauci and Gates get crucified in a city centre, $10 million? Now this would gain a lot of traction and press, and of course many of those gatekeepers would come looking. But Pirate Bay and DeFi are still running. You know why? Technically decentralized and DAO. There's nobody there. It's remote anonymous clicks on a screen. The talismanic images alone would change the world. It would smash them. In this fictitious sci-fi scenario where no world intent. Think upon this comment. Removing mass murderers by any means necessary removes mass murderers. and that is having a love for humanity. Sometimes the best thing to do is raze it all to the ground in a heroic cleanse. The blood of the heroes is closer to God than the ink of the philosopher and the prayers of the faithful. The great Julius Evola. The Shaolin monks and samurai always fought for sacred righteousness and justice in a calm way, with zero tolerance for compliance to oppression. If going down this path, keep a Zen state in your heart. If you're a man and Mars energy is not alive inside you in these times, you are dead inside, already a shadow of a human being. Die with memories and not dreams. Live life before life leaves you. It's the possibility of a dream coming true that makes life interesting. No risk, no story. There's a line in the sand. Those succumb to evil and those still aligned with the light. Aligning with the light doesn't mean to be passive. Remember, the elite at the top of the pyramid are only 300 or so people. All their minions and gatekeepers are all fair game. Those with wisdom will have fire inside them in this time in history. Choose with diligence your action. There is much we can each do. We pulled ourselves apart into these four elements, improved, then congealed back together, merging into a purer human archetype. A hidden element now appears: ether, ether solutions, plane of spirit, divine spark, divine essence, divine connection, source, higher self, higher power, the boys upstairs, spirits, human evolution. We will start with the divine sky luminaries, the sky clockwork, archetypes within all of us. As above, so below. Key dates for 2022. Eclipse seasons are first half of May and late October to early November. February the 18th, Jupiter in Pisces, sextile Uranus in Taurus. The elite can use this to expand changes in the finance system, but big changes the people might not see, as we may be sent illusions. Individually here we can seize opportunities and maybe rebel in divine righteousness and be slippery to catch. March the 3rd, Mars, Pluto, Venus, Capricorn conjunct, sextile to the Moon in Pisces. There is also Sun, Jupiter conjunct in Pisces. The elite can use manipulation, aggression and bravery to expand their grip on human emotions and societal structures. Individually, we can use this to transform close bonds and relationships. Expansion of righteous intuition is here too. Ask yourself, what do you feel? April the 4th, one of the 3 big dates of the year. Mars and Saturn conjunct in Aquarius, square Moon in Taurus, which is conjunct the North Node. The elite can use this warrior aggression and the darkness of limiting and restricting Saturn to really smash emotions. It's very much on path for them. Individually, could be a bit tricky with emotions and not being able to express yourself. Another big date, April the 12th, Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in Pisces. The elite can really use this to expand and push illusions and a fake reality onto the masses. Individually, be good for your insight, feeling, intuition and imagination. You may also feel the need to find a meaning in your life. May the 3rd, Jupiter in Pisces, sextile Pluto in Capricorn. The elite can use this for authority and societal change, stamping on people, expanding their manipulation, and people can follow here without too much revolt. Individually, we can show good psychological sense, and natural authority and ambitions can be awakened. We can know and launch a vision of something. July the 1st, Mars in Aries square Pluto in Capricorn. And this one is quite gnarly. The elites can go full power, aggressive, control, battle, manipulation, authority mode, changing the system. It's quite fierce. Individually, could be a good time to revolt in a smart way or hide behind the sofa. August the 1st, Mars-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, square Saturn in Aquarius. I don't really like this one. Mars-Uranus conjunct in Taurus is an aggressive, stubborn change on the finance system or systems of security. Square Saturn in Aquarius means restrictions and limitations. They're all full power here. New radical thoughts could be blocked or rushed in. Individually, just get out of the way. On November the 14th, 15th, this is the last of the three big hitters. Wow, what a date. Jupiter, Neptune in Pisces, trine to Venus, Mercury, Sun in Scorpio, a rare kite pattern with Pluto in Capricorn at the base, headed up by Moon in Leo, Cancer cusp. There is also a grand trine in water, near the cusp of fire. Massive dates. The elite will have emotions of people all over the place, or will aim to have, all with an undercover agenda to change societal structures, pretending to be soft, but really it's harsh. Sheep in wolves' clothing energy. Individually, a time to control one's amplified emotions. It is a harmonic pattern. Intuition and feelings will be amplified. If you're in a good place in life, this can aid you to springboard new visions and imaginative manifesting of new ideas. November the 20th, Mars retrograde in Gemini is square to Neptune in Pisces. For the elite, fast-moving aggression and action, and sowing more illusions to the masses. Individually, we can make actions here, fast ones, but no reality from what is in one's mind or wishes. Last key date of the year, December the 23rd, the Sun in Capricorn square to Jupiter in Aries. Again, the elite can use this to cement societal structure changes, expanding them quickly, while most will be Christmas shopping and drinking. Individually, if one is not dependent on the elite's authority by this date, well done. I'll be honest, if reliant or near the elite matrix 2022 to 24, it doesn't look super pretty. As an offering to all of you who follow my work, and to give this section the respect it deserves, I did a 7-day silent solitude across the December full moon and solstice, and took one for the team. So just know this section is concise. This realm is full of so much organic and natural love and beauty. Therefore, the divine creator intelligence had so much love and beauty, so much high consciousness, so much will to good. The spirit of divine creator intelligence has an essence alive in all of humanity, and an essence alive in the evolution of human consciousness. We all share a part of this. Our souls are journeyers, evolving, and the gift of coming here on an individual level is so we evolve the soul, no matter what the background theatre, no matter what the story. We evolve it through maturing and elevating emotions, perceptions, decisions, all the stuff we've spoken about. In this realm, we need food, water, shelter, and have a deep desire to connect with others. Plus the sky clock is changing each moment. So mix this all together and the motion of life and friction all start moving. And we are forced to make choices and gain resources, and the tapestry of life starts. What also happens in this realm is cyclic resets. You can see my geology revived documentary for proof and how this information is suppressed. So this realm has periods of light and dark. At the moment we're in a period of dark. There is an evil that has got in. An evil so cunning it's pretending to be good. It doesn't even have the courage to show itself for what it is. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. The humans here now experiencing all this are being spiritually tested, and the results of this test will collectively pave the way for the next generation and what happens next, and individually mark your soul. Most are failing this test, and most have evolved fear into a deadly mass psychosis. The psychotic mutant juice cult is in its hundreds of millions. I love the beauty, archetypes, and divine essence flowing through humanity. I love human beings, but currently, over 90% of humans are mind-controlled idiots. It's not mutually exclusive. So why is there this evil currently? One or more of these 6 could answer this, in no specific order. 1. The collective subconscious exists in the etheric/spirit world. The collective suppressed darkness of unresolved trauma, greed, fear, amnesia, lack of spirituality has manifest as a dark elite, and or attracted dark spirits. 2. The elite group of families, with a little bit of a different bloodline for whatever reason, mostly Khazarian mafia, psychopathic Zionists, are on a mega control trip as they hate everyone else, not abiding by the Talmud. They see us all as Goyim, which is a word for someone not Jewish, and they want us eradicated or controlled. 2a. Big elements of these families are evocating dark spirits and opening dark portals from their rituals. 3. It's cyclic, like the yugas, times of light, times of dark, and the wheel spins. And we just carnated here in a dark time. A time of a big spiritual reset, spiritual birth, possible spiritual jump, darkest before dawn. 4. Maybe the elite know a spiritual upgrade, reset, or cataclysmic transformation is coming soon and want to take as many souls out of the chance of catching the new frequency. 5. This is a plane of liberation above our higher etheric realms, below our lower etheric realms. This is the only place where a soul's karma and evolution can really shift. So some creator beings are trying to help us by throwing us crazy puzzle boxes in the shape of dark spirits. Bit like the Hunger Games, or the old SimCity game where out of nowhere some monster would come and destroy all you thought was normal and stable. Don't drive yourself crazy analysing which one though. It's kind of futile. Personally, I go with cyclic times of light and dark, and the elite are doing crazy rituals with dark spirits. To digress, I'm a bit perplexed why not one priest, monk, rabbi, cleric, Zen master, guru or nun hasn't made any video like this or sharing any information like this. Sadhguru, who the New Agers love, over 10 million views on many of his videos, hugging Klaus Schwab. One spiritual person I know said maybe he is above it all and spiritual people can overcome the mutant juice as everything is consciousness. I then asked her to drink a bottle of vodka and overcome the natural biological reactions. She declined. The New Age was a clever trick by the elite. It took many off the chessboard. There is also no mainstream religious leader coming to save you either in these times, as near all are on the mutant juice. Each generation gets a puzzle box. Wars, plagues, cataclysms, mudfloods, droughts. This mass genocide and DNA mutation is the biggest attack on souls probably since the fall of Atlantis. The 0.5% of us that really see the full narrative, we are really supposed to be here now, that's for sure. Now funnily enough, there was enough evil flying around before the Rona, but most just couldn't see it. What sort of a world are we in when we have to pay for clean water? Where corporate plastics pollute, where forests are cut down, where fiat scam coin harvests energy, where share prices with perpetual growth comes before humanity and nature. So with the current narrative, more have woken up to evil, and that's kind of good. But this evil really needs putting down, like a crazy dog. Evil is deranged, it eats itself up, and like a whirlpool or tornado, it takes out everyone in its path. Not just people, even the food supply, businesses, supply chain, banks, economy, all is going to be swallowed up by this evil as it eats itself. Evil control seeks more evil control, because that's the nature of evil control. The fear of death is for unspiritual beings. Evola and P.R. Sarkar, known as Baba, both said atheists are lower than animals, worthless eaters, and they said it with compassion, and both did so much to wake people up. Paradoxically, this is what the Khazarian mafia see from the Talmud too, but they see it from their own cult and without compassion, and with a big sprinkle of genocide. Baba also said, the absence of divinity is the root of all atrocities. He also said it was a duty of good people to declare war against oppressors. It's quite funny how so many of his followers don't actually follow his teachings, but I'm sure they can sing the nice songs. What happened recently is the unspiritual humans with a fear of death listen to the TV and the doctors. So it is for sure unspiritual people are a big root problem too. Unspiritual people have a love for service to self and entertainment, little involvement in processing shadow. These are the ones that have fallen deepest into the fear, and dark etheric beings feed on people's fear and darkness. So it's the unspiritual people acting as restaurants, inviting dark spirits to come and eat all they want. Most of the unspiritual people in the Matrix drinking the mutant juice, they're now as good as possessed. I hope you can see how atheism is a big root problem. A great old quote is, "Atheism is more in the head than the heart of men." And a root problem of atheism is the wrong cosmology, and I've done years of work on that subject alone on this very channel. I want to digress a little to the mystics in ancient Greece. They said, we are not our minds. They said all thoughts and emotions come from spiritual beings that exist in your soul matrix in the higher planes. Invisible forces doing the thinking and feeling for you, but the ego believes it is the self. They said the individual is always channeling higher forces to the lower realms, guardian angels or demonic parasites, known at the time as genie or daemon, D-A-E. And the genie and daemon were responsible for all we call mind, and were concealed from the sensory organs. When a genie or daemon comes to a human soul, it sprinkles in its own notions. When calm, the good spirits bring forth wonderful things, and rise one's soul to wisdom. When chaotic and service to self, an evil daemon transmutes your soul to wickedness, and encourages lust, greed and violence. Both of these spirits are always seeking your attention. When we reclaim our consciousness, like many truthers have done, only then can we not be influenced by these dark spirits, and connect more to spirits there for our good. This sort of information was hidden, stamped upon, it was overlaid by the New Testament, where pretty much every external entity was claimed to be a devil or a bad demon, D-E-M, unless Jesus or God. Just something to have a little think about. Back to the present. Many currently possessed souls are being pushed out of the soul cycle, off the wheel. When they leave this realm, they're just going to get munched by dark spirits or fall into a dark spirit and make that dark spirit power up. Off the chessboard of evolution. People you know too. The ultimate goal for us is to evolve out of this realm. Like a god spark evolves from mineral to vegetable to animal to human kingdom, the human must then evolve enough to pop out of this realm and move to a higher realm. This could take hundreds or thousands of carnations. We have progressed technologically, but we have regressed spiritually and morally. What does the divine creator intelligence create? Life. What is the source of life? DNA. DNA is the language or coding of life. What happens from making love? The creation of brand new DNA. So no, love creates God force. Human love creates new divine source code. Love is divine intelligence. And the elite are tampering with this divine source code and putting people into fear. Complete opposite vibration to love. You can't really get more evil. Pick any concentration camp ever. Nothing comes close. It doesn't come close at all. I know an energetic healer who, when she puts her hands on a mutant juice client, both feel nothing, and she could before they were juiced. She used the term spiritually dead. So we're in a spiritual battle for the human soul. The boys upstairs, the boys of light, you can call it Jesus, Zeus and his crew, the 10th and final carnation of Vishnu on his horse, a gang of 144,000 higher selves. The labels are unimportant. The boys upstairs aren't showing an etheric appearance until at least 2025-27. They've hit snooze on their alarm clocks, so to speak. The memo is, souls down here need to feel more pain so they can look at their own darkness and ignorance, then wake up. I told them that's a bit harsh. They reminded me of the memo before carnating that said, Earth is a realm for spiritual lessons and you might get squeezed from time to time. Mythologically, it is said Vishnu's last and 10th carnation down here would only be when it is riddled with demons. Vishas, not sure what you deem as many demons, but I can assure you some divine fumigation is required. Humanity is on a tightrope. It is being tested individually and collectively. It could also be said that humanity is living through what could be considered a door or a hole. The decision to fall into the hole or go through the door is yours. If you decide to go through the door, you've got to stay in play for a few more years, holding true to your morals and principles. Only the souls of purity and righteousness will make it. But those that go through the door will get the etheric fruits. Remember, it's a barrage of challenges, puzzle boxes and tests in this divine spiritual realm. So look at this time as fun, like a divine video game. The final boss is here, and you're being judged. Decent graphics. The pure DNAs cannot really die. The body can, but you can't. So what can we do spiritually? A big key is to remember what you are. Rumi poetically wrote, "Who art thou? The design of all. Who am I? The desire of the design." A part within you is the eyes and essence of the divine creator intelligence, or call it supreme consciousness, or God. You are a divine being. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light. That which existed before the beginning and will continue after the end, you are that thing. Do protect your spirit, because we are in a place where spirits are getting eaten. Spirituality is really a personal relationship with the divine, achieved through having a relationship with the divine in the self. Religion is similar, but oftentimes can be seen as more crowd control. What else can we do spiritually? You can go to a cacao polyamorous dance party with Shiva songs and hug strangers and pretend you are a family, and all this evil will evaporate. Just kidding. Darkness is just a lack of light. Simply more light overpowers darkness, so shine light. Evil is just a lack of good. Simply more good overpowers evil, so do good, be good. There are some people who have a big grasp on the agendas at play, but don't have some sort of connection to divinity in their hearts. Now is a very good time to cultivate it. As the forces of light stroke boys upstairs have hit snooze for a few years, they can't affect much for a few years. But the forces of light need you to align to them. The forces of darkness are a bit different. They come to you and interfere and try and control you, but you have to give your consent to them at the end, at the last minute. But the forces of light, they can't affect here for a few years, but you can connect to them. They're waiting. We need to be like the divine creator intelligence, to create new with love, like what happened with all this beauty in this realm. We can only do this if we have a raised, elevated consciousness with divine connection. Then naturally we will have a raised, elevated perceptions, ideas, empathy, emotional maturity and creativity, etc. We need this elevated consciousness, as from a blank canvas, we really need new systems of living together, new ways to look at value, new ways to look at teams, leaders, governance and inventions. To bring astrology into much of this is my view. Also to learn afresh about what it is we really need and ways to ethically share and inspire others. As Julius Evola said, only an institution ordained into the superior principle of being can help humanity and bring things in an upward progress. Capitalism is a finite construct. It ought all in its path to have more and more and more, or to lose. Communism taught us lack, tyranny, and grey conformity. All these other systems are old paradigm garbage too. If we play it right, in a few years there might be a gap to really create something new. Start thinking now, as I think soon there will be downloads awaiting those seeking to catch. I'll tell you this, even when the good guys win, that Western capitalism, Disney cartoon, vanilla system That is dead. That is never coming back. That is in the history books. So as you can imagine, it may get a little rough for a little while new seeds sprout and grow. So how does one elevate consciousness? Well, we just actually did it by enforcing much of what we looked at in the prior 4 elements sections. You'll be pretty much there. Meditate, pray, affirm, shadow work, healing, trauma healing, all great too. Removing all that doesn't serve your highest good from your life, great too. With a decision or new path or new people, simply ask yourself, is it sacred or not? I can't in words tell you the importance of the Etheric Solutions Part 1 short video, the way the 144,000 of us can connect etherically at distance. I know many are doing this and getting something from it. I certainly don't see this as my video or my gig. It's something we can all benefit from. I was going to share a framework, structure and tips for a really good 7-day silent solitude, but I don't want to cast pearls before swine, so a link is in the description. The Vipassana gig pumped all around the world doesn't help too much. Sitting uncomfortably in a room full of the opposite sex for 10 days, your aura really needs more space. Vipassana is more of a challenge in discipline than deep spiritual evolution. Yeah, it can help, but there is much more gold in the mines if gifting yourself 7 or 10 days. Some of you may recall I spent 2 years with some mystics 17 years ago and wrote a book shortly afterwards. Center yourself in your own stance of light. Develop your quality of light. Align to nature and natural order. Each human has so much power within. It's wise in these times to see the New Age as entertainment and not so much a spiritual path. I know it's nice to hang out with good-looking single people who enjoy freedom more than most, but comments regarding the current narrative like, I'm just going to observe and surrender, and I'm not polarizing on the vaccine opinions, are quite toxic and dangerous. Spending some hours in a group spiritually and not talking or working on what's going on for even 10 seconds, it's strange, it's bypassing. Living in the frequency of love is mentioned a lot, but most pretending to do this lack discernment and lack situational awareness and have no idea we're in a spiritual war. Living in the frequency of love is a love of wisdom and discernment in these times. Love is the medicine though, for sure. Love yourself, love divinity, love truth, love everyone. Done. If everyone done this, yeah, utopia in 2 seconds flat. But we kind of have a dark elite for centuries that recently just decided to turn itself into a crazy full throttle tornado and bring loads of dark spirits with it, possessing souls. We should all be more loving. But being loving in your local community won't stop CBDCs or Booster 567. This is another short section for those wanting to revolt. This is more spiritual revolt. This section is really only for mystics, a person who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. This action is really only for those who can separate what images, sensations and energies are coming from your mind or your imagination or your higher self or other spirit beings. Otherwise this sort of stuff can get real messy real quick. Having some learnings in the symbolic language of spirit helps too. So, one can, over time, work with spirits close to your part of the world. In Mexico be the Maya spirits, in Europe the elementals, in India the Hindu spirits, in America Jesus and the Native American spirits, Catholic countries the archangels, in Asia the Nagas. Connect to them and over a while help them to understand what is going on. Most will already know and will probably kick your ass. And aligning with the sky clock and combined intention, funnel some of their divine righteousness archetype into amulets, talismans or sigils and place these at G20 meetings, WHO meetings, World Economic Forum meetings, BlackRock meetings or hotels where the elite are staying, and heal all these people or neutralize them. Magic, some of you scream. Well, every thought is a prayer and every word is a spell. And everyone agrees it's wise to control thoughts and words and give intention to them. You're all doing magic every day. You've just been conditioned otherwise. Some might freak out at me sharing that. But there is a spiritual war on, and some of us need to try and attack the Death Star. What are we doing here? Why are you watching this? So many people call themselves spiritual, and a spiritual war comes along, and next to nobody stands up. By default, let's get this clear. Anyone claiming to be spiritual and doesn't know there's a spiritual war isn't spiritual. Go and see a local spiritual yoga teacher. Ask her about the current spiritual war. Ask her what she's doing. See her face. It's quite laughable. What's going on now is 100 times worse than the 1930s. It's not someone wants your land, or some people to speak another language, or to grow their political ideology. This is technical mutation to DNA and affecting the soul, and turning the world into AI control. Did you get the memo? Or has the repetition desensitized you? It's beyond war. I don't have the words for what this is. Ooh, it makes no sense they're getting the third vaccine. Sure, it makes no sense. But you claiming to be spiritual, but not knowing we're in a spiritual war, that makes less sense. Less than the lemming getting the third vaccine. As frankly, the lemming was always going to get the third one. But you, spiritual person, you not knowing we're in a spiritual war, that is much worse. And you might have to meditate on this, but I'm telling you, the boys upstairs are telling me to tell you it is worse. So have a look at yourselves. Please, with love. It's supposed to be a documentary, not rally the troops. Honestly, spiritual people who don't know there's a spiritual war. Okay, it's like a mechanic who doesn't know what a spanner is. If your local yoga teacher tells you her role in the spiritual war is teaching people to stretch, tell her from me, say WaykiWayki says, the judgment hall has already decided, not good enough, won't wash, won't make the cut. While we're at it, I can't believe I'm doing this, there are spiritual people without a love for knowledge, without a love for truth. Forget wisdom. I mean, how does that make any sense? Forget the war thing. You speak to these people and you say, what do you think of this mutant juice elite stuff? See, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting the mutant juice. Okay, but what do you think about what's going on? I don't want it. I'm not getting it. What sort of answer is that? It's just pure service to self. These people claiming to be spiritual. I don't know what? They spent a week in Rishikesh, read a Buddhist book once. This lot are going to get a very big wakey in the afterlife. Holy moly. Okay, I did the maths. The percentage of humans on Earth that know the narrative, love truth, have their four elements, all we've been through, pretty chakra'd up, pretty good state, and know we're in a spiritual war, the percent of people in the world is 0.0000000. Really, I did the maths. Seriously, it's now or never, and it's us or no one. When you go to the judgment hall, they will ask you, and I guarantee you, what did you do during the great once every 20 zillion millennia great epic spiritual battle for human souls? If you answer, I sat around online, watched some videos, posted a few memes on Facebook, it won't be good enough, and it won't wash. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. Won't be good enough, won't wash. So please, have a look at yourselves. With love, pretty please, huggy huggy. It's time to do something. You've been given the gift of human life at a time of a colossal spiritual war. Are you acting accordingly? Each person doesn't need to revolt, but there is much that can be done. If you want, make sandwiches for the medics, so to speak. There are many positions available. After the Apocalypse Office joke actually becoming a real thing for 2 years and having to close it down as it got too busy and less emergencies, I'm really hoping this now doesn't create a spiritual war lieutenant hotline. Seriously, I'm going to hang up on you. So now we all know there's a spiritual war on. Clap, clap, clap. It doesn't matter if you're using Gnostic, Rosicrucian, Golden Dawn, Christian, Sufi, Vedic means. Personally, I would stay clear of New Age, Wicca, or any strange bespoke pagan gigs for attack. But do what you need to. There's a war on. If you come from light, you're good to go. You don't stop a dragon slayer because you don't like his sword. If he's keen, he goes to fight. Pray, meditate, ritual, talismans, amulets, sigils, use whatever you can in light and divine righteousness, and don't dogmatically hate another for doing something different to you. We need a variety of light. Okay, moving on to some predictions and speculation. Between now and 2030 is so pivotal. It's not decided yet how it will pan out, as humanity's actions collectively will decide. Here are what I see as different potential timeline outcomes in the coming years. 1. Big awakening through mass awareness of lies, and then mass revolt worldwide in the shape of waving placards and fighting police. Governments don't use their militaries, central banks, supply chain control, or 5G for defense, and quietly disband. BlackRock give their $20 trillion to African poverty and cancel the Great Reset, AI Web3, and CBDC's projects. That one's a joke, by the way, but many people are on board with this one. 2A. Dystopia for most. Us lot not hunted down really. We coexist. We can get on with our lives quite easily away from it. Little tricky to overlap or travel through the matrix or deal with it online. We get sort of shut out. Sporting events, city restaurants, impossible. Flying about, tricky. 2B. Dystopia for most, but us lot more hunted down. One thing nobody's talking about, the mutant juice could also be protection against a future bioweapon. So they take out the purebloods, the truthers, the dissidents. Being a pureblood in an EU city, good luck with that. 2C. Dystopia for most, but a sort of dimension split where we can't really see or feel each other, but share the same realm. 3. Octave jump, a reset. New frequency wave sweeps the realm. 144,000 spiritually tuned, aware purebloods catch it. It splits souls into two different realms, two clearly different dimensions, apart from each other. In this, a cataclysm of sorts where the earth wakes up could be evident. Kind of Book of Revelation stuff in here too. The new place will be more telepathic and travel possibly by thought intention, something more etheric, a bonus level so to speak. In this dimension split theory, maybe the divine intelligence gets to experience itself more. New God spark souls can carnate down in mutant juice dystopia demon dimension, or up in telepathic wonderland dimension, in which each soul goes to the realm that matches its frequency at the time of the event, at the time of the new wave, at the time of the new frequency. So take your pick, 1, 2A, 2B, 2C, or 3. To get more playful and imaginatively speculative, there is an error with the human mind. It doesn't work properly. There's a kind of bug. It's too easily hacked and too easy to control with spells, NLP, image, and repeated beliefs. Maybe the divine creators are preparing a reset, an evolutional octave jump, so we can get the mind update patch, like restarting a computer. Maybe the elite know this event is coming too, and are making sure we don't catch it via mutant juice, chemtrails, 5G, fluoride, etc. It's a long list. Disregarding all speculation, two trains are for sure in a race. The elite train to destroy, downgrade, and mutate humanity, and the good guys train, living organically, trying to evolve the soul and embody wisdom. A head-on collision will come in a few years. Something has to give. If you take one thing from this whole presentation, it is the time to upgrade yourself. Birthing anything new is a painful process. Every soul will get the experience it needs and attracts. Within humanity is a divinity, a purity, a will to good, so much heart, so much goodness, so much creativity. We can never lose faith in this, so always grace over grudges. The soul needs friction to evolve. Ever been on a paradise beach for more than a few days? It gets boring. Your soul starts to try and get the tapestry of life moving again, so it can evolve through the four elements. I'm not sure if any of you have had a near-death experience or a big hero dose shamanic journey. Souls not here would give so much to experience one day here, even if it was like it is now. So much potential for experience and pure potential itself. To pilot a body that you can choose actions, location and communication is such a gift. Well, it's all a little restricted now, but that's the battle for freedom. There's going to be so much going on soon, you won't know where to look. They need to pull on the throttle more, as if letting it chill, people would get their bearings and work it out and wake up. The elite need people in an exponentially increasing frozen, anxious state for their agenda to win. A couple of weird notes. If a big earthquake ever happens near Christchurch, New Zealand, it's time to get high up as the earth is about to shake. 2025 to 27, I feel boats will be useful to many people. Two things are 100% certain. I've seen them clear as day. Western cities in chaos comes next, and the end of cash in big nations comes after. These two are certain. Much of the rest is up for grabs. 2025-27, some new energy is coming. The elite will get blindsided. I'm spending less time responding to random messages from now on. 2020, 2021, my inbox was blasted. Please use the Telegram group in the description. Later in 2022, I will work on another short story book, as fictitious and conceptual delivery of allegory and message is more timeless, I feel. When needed, I'll do another video like this at the end of 2022 or 23. Don't fear death. Inside is the treasure, as when you pass, it's all that is inside that lives, and all external from this realm dissolves. Wisdom is one of the most sacred things here, freedom even more so. Purity always triumphs over wickedness. Bravery is the only option, courage is the only way.